Breaking Zepbound news. FDA approves weight loss drug Zepbound to treat sleep apnea, obstructive sleep apnea. Two major points on this: why this will dramatically affect your pocketbook. You're going to want to stay till the end on that one. And Medicare, if you're near Medicare or close to Medicare, why this is so important. This is huge, 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 huge news. Hi, beautiful friends. I'm Elizabeth, Countess of Shopping. If we don't know each other, welcome. I have lost over 101 pounds the last 2 years of being on Zepbound, Mounjaro, and tirzepatide compound. And on today's episode, I want to deep dive into this breaking news that happened on Friday, December, December 20th, 2024. And I want to break down this important piece of information. I've sat on this news story for the last 2 days. I'm filming this on December 22nd because I wanted to get two important pieces of information for you: the financial information about why this is so important to you if you're on a GLP-1 medication. And also for all of my Medicare, Medicaid friends who are watching, you need to share this video. This is super, super important information. Let's dive in. Zepbound, which is by the manufacturer Eli Lilly, and also as a Mounjaro, same exact thing. It's active tirzepatide ingredient. Two different FDA approvals for those. Zepbound is for chronic obesity management. Mounjaro, same thing, FDA approval for type 2 diabetics. Well, now we've got a third one. Ringing in the third one is Zepbound is the first prescription drug approved to treat a common condition. And then my source that I'm citing is the New York Times. I will link that down on the description link below, as is, by the way, all of my free resources. If you've not gotten my free Zepbound side effects tracker, snag it. It's on countessofshopping.com, and the direct link is in the description. And my Zepbound checklist, my Zepbound meal plans, all of it is also on countessofshopping.com, but the direct links to those specific free resources are listed down below. So sleep apnea, obstructive sleep apnea, is the first prescription medication to treat the common sleep disorder. This is huge news, by the way. For people with severe obstructive sleep, millions of Americans have this condition, and worldwide. The company said that the drug should be used with a reduced calorie diet and increased physical activity. When people have obstructive sleep apnea, they can struggle with breathing properly during sleep and gasping for air. If untreated, obstructive sleep apnea raises risk of health issues like cardiovascular problems, diabetes, stroke, dementia. I mean, not fun stuff. In June, two studies of where people who took the drug saw a greater improvement in sleep apnea symptoms, including fewer interruptions in sleep than those who took the placebo. Eli Lilly funded both of those studies. So I am on Zepbound, Mounjaro, tirzepatide compound. My sleep has dramatically changed. Tell me in the comments below if you're on a GLP-1 medication, whether it's WEGOVY, semaglutide, Ozempic, or Mounjaro, tirzepatide, Zepbound. Those are the same grouping. I want to know, has your sleep improved in terms, and I know some of you are going to say, no, I'm up in the middle of the night. We'll talk about that later. But in terms of my snoring, I was supposed to have a sleep study. It ended up not doing it because my sleep so dramatically improved. I'm not wearing it right now because it's charging, but my Oura Ring has the data to prove my sleep has dramatically changed. So much so, a couple of reasons why for that. But doctors typically recommend that patients with both obesity and sleep apnea lose weight to ease their symptoms. Well, if you have chronic obesity management, when people are like, oh, lose weight, like, no, do not think that I have tried over the last decades of my life since I was 10 years old and put on my first diet, that I've not tried to just lose weight. Of course I have. So with this, in conjunction with the FDA approval, some doctors have been prescribing weight loss drugs to people with sleep apnea. And the FDA's decision may place added pressure on insurance companies, ding, 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 to cover obesity medications as some plans tighten the restrictions on coverage. I want to talk about your pocketbook, but first, one of the best things that I did at the beginning of my weight loss journey was get LMNT electrolytes. I now use them. I used them at the beginning for my Zepbound side effects. I bought the sticks, but there's a variety of different things that you can use with them. And typically with these, I use the stick throughout 3 different 40-ounce tumblers, but you could use the whole stick in one glass if you felt so inclined. For me, it helps with my Zepbound and Mounjaro diarrhea, constipation, nausea, vomiting. Those 4 are the most common gastrointestinal side effects. For me, dramatic night and day difference from starting this journey 2 years ago. And I literally bought them back 2 years ago when I first started because I was like, it's the best. an influencer I used to follow had recommended Element. I was like, okay, I trust her. I'm gonna take her word for it. And so for me, being a woman of integrity, when I share about this product, like literally, like my dad's on it, my kid's on it. My kid, I have him take it for his soccer games. But they now also have the sparkling cans. Whoops, as I knock the whole display over. But the cans I love because they're really, really easy to be able to take in the car. And I can just pop one of these cans. It has sodium, magnesium, potassium, super delicious tasting, but also I know it helps prevent my leg cramps. I used to get brutal leg cramps, not anymore, queen. But they do also have right now, which I'm super excited about, their chocolate medley. I put it in my coffee, or you can put it in hot tea or hot drinks, but I love it. They have caramel, chocolate caramel, a chocolate raspberry, a chocolate mint. It's really, really good to put in hot drinks. And so I like having about a third of that stick in my drink, but that helps my side effects. And so for people who are starting this drug with sleep apnea, something to think about that I'm so glad that I did 2 years ago. I mean, when I first started taking GLP-1 medication, people used to blast me. You're gonna have 5 heads on that. Now I'm like, babes, it's the best decision I've ever made in my entire life. Besides marrying, excuse me, my hot husband, my career choices, and my kid. This is one of the best decisions of my life. And so taking this drug, though, I have needed the extra support that Element Electrolytes gives. So go to drinkelement.com/queen, QUEEN. They have graciously given the Countess of Shopping 8 free sticks with any purchase at drinkelement.com/queen. Feel free to use that link to get some of the free sticks. And I dropped my complete display all the way down. Sorry. Let's go back to talking about money. I'm just going to keep dropping things apparently. Woo! Okay, so let's go back talking about money, about why this is so important for your pocketbook. 2 things. 1, this is a backdoor, so to speak, for Medicare and Medicaid patients. Medicare and Medicaid patients cannot get obesity drugs because of the law. It was during like the FinFan era. They made that law ruling to not be able to get obesity medications because of like FinFan and stuff like that. So by having Zepbound, which is now Mounjaro, which I'm assuming it's going to come under a new name. There's going to be another medication name, like how Zepbound wasn't Mounjaro, it was renamed to Zepbound. I hope it's going to be named like the Countess or like Skordinsky or something fabulous, Elizabeth, or I don't know. Pinky Nadine, I don't know, something along my way. It's going to have another name probably. But what this does is this potentially can help you get coverage with your insurance company for these drugs. That is the biggest thing right now, because we're getting punched left, right, and sideways, bob and weave hook of insurance companies dropping these medications for us. And so to be able to have another route into being able to get tirzepatide covered under health insurance, my health insurance does not cover Zepbound. It's very frustrating with their formularity changes. They won't, and you have to, it was for PAs, and it's just a pain in the butt. It truly, it's not only a pain in the butt, it's disgraceful, to be honest. Literally losing 100, oops, that's not the one I want today. Losing 101 pounds and then knowing of how much that's going to help my health in the long term and not covering this drug and making me pay out of pocket. I mean, that's egregious, but I digress. They'll be judged later on. No, but the insurance companies, this is one way that it potentially could help. 2, I learned this, and I don't know if you know this or not. I'm going to be doing a whole separate episode on this. I need to fact check myself. So for example, I always talk about how I cite my sources. Link down below is the New York Times article. So I try to use reputable sources when I'm delivering news stories like these. In this day and age, being factually accurate matters, and having sources and not just throwing out information out there, being accurate matters. And that matters to me. It's really important to me. And I know that you know that if you're still watching this video. And so for me, this fact I am telling you, I need to fact check myself. But I wanted to put it out there because I thought I have fact checked it, but I haven't gotten the sources that I want to make sure. You know how some sources are like, I've got this from a reputable source. I'm not going to name my source though, so take that for what it's worth. But each time drugs get approvals like this, so from Mounjaro to Zepbound, now Zepbound to whatever this new drug is going to be called for sleep apnea now that it has the FDA approval, it lengthens the time of the patent. Why does that matter in terms of generic drugs for us to be able to get these drugs eventually as generic drugs? Like where you can go basically over the counter to get them. You see what I'm saying? Like 20 years out that it would be a generic drug. I forget what it is. I thought it was 8 years. It's not. Someone had corrected me and I think it's 20 years, which again, like I said, I need to do a follow-up video where I can fact check myself, cite my sources. But I want to put this on your radar for you because us collectively here at the Countess of Shopping community and in my free encouragement group, I know that collectively we're going to come up with the answer together. Or one of our beautiful souls who's already watching right now knows the answer. So tell me in the comments below if you already know this answer. But each time one of these FDA approvals for the same drug, like a tirzepatide, gets approved, I'm leapfrogging here, it extends the patent. That is great news for Eli Lilly to keep extending the patent on this drug to make it eventually not to be generic, is my understanding of that. I could be giving false information here, but I don't think so because I've had it shared with me and then I've had rough research on it and that looks like that's credible in that information. So I will be following up on that, but that is fascinating because many of you, like me, were like, oh, well, the patent here coming out eventually. I mean, 2 decades is a long time if that's how long it takes, but still, knowing of what I'm paying eventually be like, oh, it's like the price of Tylenol down the pike. That's great news. But if we're getting extensions, we know that it's in testing for sleep apnea, but we also know that there's for cardiovascular events, strokes, things along that vertical. The other vertical of we're testing for dementia, Parkinson's disease, like there's other verticals that are getting tested with tirzepatide and with semaglutide too. So something to keep in mind each time we hear of these things getting approved. But that's one way of looking at it for your pocketbook. The other side of the pocketbook and the financial part of it is this could hopefully help get coverage for health insurance companies. Health insurance companies are giving us left, right, and sideways elbows, kicking you in the crotch. But this is great news of that it may be able to be covered for some of us through our insurance companies who may not have already been covered. For me, that's for me with my current insurance company. That's one. Two, Medicare, Medicaid, they can't do obesity drugs, but potentially this opens up the door for that. This only dries up the demand. So patients have sought out tirzepatide until recently there was a shortage of the medication. The question now is Medicare will cover Zepbound for people with obstructive sleep apnea. Age raises the risk of developing the condition. The disorders are more common of people over 65 compared to the general population. Medicare currently does not cover medication solely prescribed for weight loss. Although the Biden administration has proposed changing that restriction, the program may be able to cover obesity medication that treats a secondary condition like obstructive sleep apnea. Scientists are studying weight loss drugs for a broader array of conditions. So this is where I'm talking about the different verticals. I'm saying verticals. I don't know if you guys know, I'm not medical. Always talk to your own healthcare provider. Simply my experience, strength, and hope. Hopefully my daily videos will encourage you to talk and have those conversations with your healthcare providers. I love using Join Fridays. Use the discount code QUEEN. But the broad array of conditions like kidney disease, liver disease, substance disorder, and I've talked about this for alcoholism, about how we're seeing for alcoholics and for treatment, using this as for treatment things in terms of addiction help along. So those in addition to the other ones that I've mentioned as well. Last March, the FDA approved WEGOVY, a weight loss drug from Novo Nordisk, to reduce the risk of cardiovascular issues with people with obesity. So this is huge. This is a big deal. Not only just for sleep apnea people, like, woo, that's great, that's amazing. And knowing my own things of how horribly I snored. I remember waking up snoring, and I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but being like this horrible, like I was choking myself, which is really sad. Like that's really sad because of my obesity. I know that it was. And now that I've lost so much weight, that now I sleep so much differently. And not having that like where I'm choking myself. Like I said, I was supposed to have a sleep study and I didn't. And then I ended up starting GLP-1 medication and then I didn't feel that way. And now my sleep is I'm having really great sleep. So this is great news. For us in the GLP-1 community, we get hit a lot. Like with what's been every day, I feel like I'm like breaking news. And I'm not trying to be an inflammatory by any means. Literally, it's something new every day in the GLP-1 community. And my friends, let's just keep riding this ride. As my husband reminded me, and I shared this in the other video, but it's worth reminding today. My husband texted me, "You're taking a miracle drug that has helped you lose 101 pounds. 3 years ago, you had no path. The glass is very full, not empty." So me remembering that too, that this is great news. This is great news for people with sleep apnea. If you have, and I know there's several of you who joined the Countess of Shopping community who have they started the medication for sleep apnea. It tickles me because I know many of you are still out there too, of that you're on this journey, and you started it, the genesis of it was because of your sleep apnea, not like mine, how it was for chronic obesity management. That they have obesity, but it was really for the sleep apnea. That's so cool to me. So welcome, by the way, welcome. Make sure you join my free encouragement group. Get my 2 weeks worth of free meal plans, dietitian created. I paid $1,000 for it, so I could specifically own the licensing rights to give it to the Countess of Shopping community because I care that much about each and every one of you. But I'm really, really pumped about this information. It's going to affect our pocketbooks in a number of different ways, hopefully opening up healthcare, potentially with the patent changes, though. More information on that. That's a long ways off, though, of us having like the generic patent, like keeping that real. And then for Medicare and Medicaid patients, too. That's more information on that as well. What are our accountability questions? What are you doing today to move you closer to your goals? Tell me in the comments below. And our emoji of the day is a gold star, because you are a gold star if you made it this far in the video. For the emojis of the day, it helps me to get to know you better because I truly do care. And so it's like a bat signal flashes up for me to pray over you. If you don't believe in prayer, I'll uplift you in positive thought. We are an inclusive group here at Countess of Shopping. So if you don't believe in prayer, I'll uplifting positive thoughts. And make sure you go to drinkelement.com/queen, get those 8 free sticks. Again, that's for any purchase. If you wanted to do the chocolate medley for coffees and teas, if you wanted to do the sparkling cans, if you wanted to do the sticks, their stuff is great. I love it. I told you guys, I literally have started to change up. Having the orange stick is now my current favorite one. A third of it each day in a 40-ounce tumbler, and I'll have 3, so it's 120 ounces before like 11. Around 11:30, somewhere in that ballpark. It's been awesome. It's been a great change up, particularly after walking 2 miles. I like crave it now. It's my big thing I'm really excited about. So my sweet friends, emoji of the day. I'm trying to think. You guys always tell me if I miss something. Am I missing anything? And I hope you guys have had a wonderful holiday season. For my beautiful friends celebrating Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah to you, and Merry Christmas to all of our other beautiful friends too. I hope you have had a great holiday season, and I am so excited for New Year's discussion too. Smash that subscribe and like button, and share this video with all of your GLP-1 friends. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I'm Countess of Shopping. Count my blessings because life is delicious. I'll see you tomorrow. Love you.